Let's just cut to the chase and we begin to know what Ajira digital program is all about. And of course, we'll explore how the digital platform has brought a discernible difference in terms of employment in this country. Honestly, it's good to see you.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for inviting me. The country, our objective is we want by 2030,
Yes.
with our vision, to have a knowledge society which is driven by ICT. And to be able to do that, we must ensure that the country is digital.
Yes.
And the way to do that is making sure that we look at what are the key needs in the country, and then start providing some of those services. So
Yes.
one of the top needs is jobs. And what we've seen with the technology is that you can customize work. You can be able to reach as many people as is needed.
Yes.
So one of the things we've been doing within the government is finding ways of using technology to be able to provide these opportunities. We want to provide over 45 million digital opportunities to people, but we're starting with the youth, where we're going to have access to different jobs. So today, if you check online, you
Yes.
go to, say, mturk, mturk.com. This is an Amazon-led website. You will find, as we speak right now, there are 670,000 hits. These are human intelligence tasks that can be done by anyone in the world.
Yes.
That is online. These tasks include, for instance, transcribing,
Yes.
which means you're given audio or video files which you can transcribe. These translations, classifying receipts, many different kinds of jobs.
Yes.
These are jobs that are online, and if you have the right tools, the right skills to be able to access those jobs, then you will be able to actually start working straight away without requiring very many processes. The trends on how jobs are being done globally is changing, where companies don't have to now employ you and give you a desk, give you a laptop, give you all these things. They feel it's cheaper and easier, where they just post the work, you come, you do the work, and you go. So we have identified that that's an area where we can use the technologies that we have and the huge number of youth that we have that are looking for work to be able to now take advantage of the technology and digital opportunities to be able to start working. We've found so far there are many different sites online that have these services available. Upwork is one of the leading, and Kenya is number 10 in terms of the number of workers. We have over 40,000 Kenyans already participating in online work. So it's not something new we're introducing. It's something that's been ongoing, and as government, what we want to do is to scale it up, get everybody digital.
But what about all those people who are really off the grid right now? Because I don't know what's a baseline survey you've done so far to say that everyone is really plugged in, like over, you say 40,000 people are involved. But the majority of Kenyans, we understand, of course, 70% of the Kenyan populace is the young people. And of course, large of it, the millennials as well. So if we talk about 40,000 against 70% of the young people that we have in this country, right, who are off the grid, don't you think maybe you're predicating this particular program on the assumption that everyone, has access and wherewithal to the online platform?
No, so I'm saying without government intervention and involvement, other than the policies and regulations we've put in place, over 40,000 youth are already working. You can meet quite a few of those. They have an income. They're fairly okay. So what we're saying is that as government, we can learn from that and actually now scale it to ensure that all the others that you're talking about will actually have access. The time we've taken so far is to try and identify what's making the others maybe not get on. Of those 40,000, maybe from the assessment we've seen, not all of them are working every day. So 40,000 have registered, but some have maybe connectivity issues. Some have training issues in terms of they don't have all the skills to be able to do the jobs. There are many different reasons why not everybody is actually using these platforms and actually working. The number one seems to be awareness.
Awareness.
Not everybody is aware that actually these opportunities exist.
All right, fantastic. You'll tell us more about awareness, and of course, I think that's where you're here also to talk about Ajira digital program as well. But let's listen from also George, who is an online intern, and you tell us more about, yes, what is really, because we have the online world right now, and it seems everyone has a cut and paste, sort of a template of the online jobs that we have. Right? Most of them, maybe they could be, you're selling your stuff or online or software development, but we want to get a broader view of what is really happening online. You're an intern. Yeah, what is your bias on online?
Online is a really exciting opportunity for every person. Let me give my own personal perspective about online jobs that have been involved for the past 3 months. And let me say that it has been an exciting opportunity for me. Not only, like, everybody can call it online, like selling things online.
Yes.
Not only that. For myself, I've been a software developer, which is actually done through the online perspective of it, which I've been able to actually develop softwares at my own desk, and actually send them to the person who has actually requested for a particular software. So you can call it actually working from your own environment without any restriction. Actually, it's a freedom.
Yes.
Freedom being brought to your desk away from any kind of an employer who actually can regulate your timing and actually regulate other terms that maybe might not be available compared to the online working platform that is actually offered when you start actually working online. Yes.
So what sort of software have you developed or are you running?
I've done catering systems.
Catering systems?
Yeah, I've done several catering systems, which actually I believe the person who actually, because most of the times don't really get to deeper details of the person who requires the software, but I believe some of these softwares are used into institutions, maybe basically like schools, because the last that I did was actually required for a specific school, university level school. So I believe with that kind of a perspective, software development, it can actually not be narrowed down to any kind of thing with a digital perspective of it. Of course, softwares can do various aspects of it. Yeah, so I can say I've been measuring to the catering system.
All right, Shira Murega, you've been on the platform for quite a while. Yes, so what is your bias as well? Software development is Matisse's yours?
I major in transcription.
Transcription?
Yes, transcription, which is basically the conversion of audio to text. Yeah, so what we transcribe is stuff like podcasts and webinars and sermons and interviews. And myself, I get a lot of this work from Upwork. This is a very big freelancing site, the one that the CS was mentioning.
Yes.
And I've been doing this for the past 4 years. And it is something that I find highly enjoyable because as a transcriber, you get to transcribe a lot of stuff. So you learn stuff about marriage, relationships, how to build businesses. And I enjoy the freedom that it gives me, the opportunity to work from home around my kids and to earn a very good income from home.
From home.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, we're going to broaden that perspective as well, and just also broaden the understanding of our viewers this morning to tell us, or you'll tell us more about the opportunities that we have. Right, Sam, of course, you're the CEO of NILAB, and you've been on this platform for quite a while right now. Yet, what sort of opportunities also are there when we talk about online from NILAB perspective as well?
Thank you, Ribal. I think I agree with the panel and everything they say about the opportunity online. But this is not from a NILAB perspective as much as it is from a kuhustle.com perspective. We have had a 2-year head start on this particular platform, the digital jobs. And what you've noticed is what everybody's saying here, there's a $200 million market in Kenya alone. Potential for just tapping into online jobs. I mean, if you look across Africa, you look at 3.8 billion opportunity. And we're not talking about jobs coming from abroad. We're talking about jobs coming from Africa. Yeah? And so if Kenya is the 10th biggest community on Upwork,
yes,
then there's a lot more potential for us to grow and even attract those jobs, to the country. So there is opportunity. I'm glad to see people who've actually used similar platforms in the past. And I think the government initiative is good. They have the resources, they have the infrastructure to actually get young people on this platform, but more so also get the local SMEs to outsource their work on similar platforms. Because you have a lot of young CEOs who are they're doing the accounts work, they're doing their own copy, and yet if they knew they could hire Shiro here for 10,000 for 2 hours to actually do that work, they'd be happy to hire a professional to do the work online. So there's also, it's not just a question of bringing jobs from outside, there's also a question of a lot of local jobs here, small medium enterprises looking for good talent, and they have no idea where to get the good talent.
Right, and so of course we'll take a short break right now. When we come back now, we'll delve deeper into this. We are holding court this morning with the Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of ICT, John Musheru. Also we have George Mutisha, who is an online intern, and we have with us also Shiro Murega. She is an online worker, and Sam Pichuhe, who is the CEO of NILAB. We're discussing about Ajira online program, Ajira digital program, which is aiming, of course, to curb the menace that we have in the country of unemployment. And of course, there's a wide array of careers that you can undertake over the internet as well. The world has gone flat, of course. If you've read that particular good book by Thomas Friedman, of course, you know the world is flat right now. It's a global village. So we'll take to understand what is really happening in this particular initiative by the Ministry of ICT, and they will tell us more on how also you can engage on this particular platform. It is, of course, for your benefit. So if you can call in, you get to drive a show with us. You can hit us on Twitter. AM Live NTV is a Twitter handle, and AM Live NTV is a profile name on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up there. But yes, this particular program, for how long has it been running? That you're launching it, yes.
The program is actually starting now, to the public. What we've been doing in the last 6 months is working closely with other ministries, with the industry, to be able to find out what are the key challenges and issues that are stopping our young people from getting online and getting the jobs.
Yes.
We've identified that we need to, as government, we want to provide training and mentorship services. So the first thing we're doing today is that we're going to be launching training, which we've done for right now we've done about 160 youth workers from the public service. We're going to have a total of 350. They will now be based in all the constituencies in the country. So they can provide mentorship services, they can provide training to any of the young people that want to engage in this program.
Yes.
We want to first provide the awareness, the training. Then we're also providing infrastructure. We're providing in all the constituencies with members of parliament and CDF.
Yes.
We're going to have free Wi-Fi so that if you're interested in the program, you'll have a place at least where you can go and start using free Wi-Fi. In partnership with the many different institutions already that have been engaging in digital work in the country, we're planning to create as many people with as much skills as possible so that they can go and actually start providing work, maybe to the SMEs that Sam is talking about. If they're aware that there's enough people with the skills that they're looking for, then they can be able to get them and work with them. Government itself, we're also going to be providing work, whether it's transcription work from judiciary or from different government institutions. We're going to ensure that we have a very well-trained workforce on digital.
Yes.
If you look at the past, India has led in a big way in the outsourcing, business process outsourcing. In fact, that whole market is about $300 billion. But the trends are changing where before you would employ people in a huge factory, you've got hundreds of people and they're all coding or working. Now it's actually distributed. People are working from their homes, they can work from counties, mashinani. They can do this work and get it coordinated and brought back together by different companies. So we want to ensure that Kenya has all those skills. So we've seen, as I mentioned, over 40,000 people already involved in this work.
Yes.
We want to increase that to millions. It's going to be a process. It's not overnight, but it means we're going to now start providing the awareness, and people need to go to ajiradigital.go.ke. They can register there, then we know who they are, and we start providing them with the right information, the right training, and the right direction, so that then we can be able to work together. The Ministry of Public Service will continue to train even more people, even we're looking at expanding that even to NYS, so that the whole country knows all about digital and what you can do with the digital skills. Because if you take the digital literacy program we have with the Standard 1 pupils, this is an extension of digitizing the whole country, so that now everyone knows how they can be able to go either online, put work, or go and actually work online and be able to deliver. And so far it's been proven that the trends they're exponential in terms of the demand for the skills. So we
Right.
want to build those skills.
Yeah, but let's just try. And of course, so we don't have to go sequentially that, oh, we hear from Shiro or George, then that way. You
Right.
can always just chime in and look at broadly at what is happening on online right now. So, of course, when we talk about online employment, and or we have also the organization that are listening to this program in the morning, and you're saying, of course, now you can work, you know, at the luxury of and the comfort of your home. You don't need to go to the office. And we see what is happening also with the mobile platform. Just recently, Deloitte and Touche released a report on the mobile economy and how it's really gaining traction, not only just in Kenya, but in Africa and the world as well. And that's where it's headed.
Right.
So is the ICTs, or yes, the online employment also a threat to, you know, the brick and mortar offices that we're having right now? We can see what is happening with the banking industry right now. Many of the branches are closing up. People are being laid off. In terms of securing employment and the threat of the digital disruption as well, where are we at?
So first,
Yes.
first it's not a threat. Let me answer that.
It is not a threat.
it
It is
not
a threat, of course.
It's an opportunity.
It's an
because
opportunity.
You don't have to have brick and mortar to be able to work. If you look at what Kuhasol is doing, they are taking existing jobs and providing, you know, workers with those opportunities.
Yes.
So the cost for those businesses is much, much lower. You don't have to go to a branch to be able to transact. You know, M-Pesa has already shown people that with mobile money, you can have most of your banking services done at the comfort of your home.
Yes.
So it's cheaper for the operator to be able to provide those services than if they have to create brick and mortar premises and they have to put all
But in
these
terms
workers.
of job security, it is cheaper, yeah, brick and mortar. This is being automated right now. When you look at the mobile, I don't need a teller, right? Do I?
You don't.
They don't.
Right.
Also, that is there's also the flip side of it, the rough and the smooth of it as well. So how do we handle that also in terms of creating? People are losing here, yes, which is a good thing that we have the disruption. But all these people were being laid off then, which will be the other opportunity in terms of also maybe roping in. Of course, employment. We know NILAB is doing that. Let's just chime in. Welcome to you,
I think well, I agree with the CS here. Disruption does not necessarily take away opportunity. It creates new opportunity. If you think about the Pony Express and the incoming of the Telegram, okay, I mean, there are a lot of people riding cross miles to deliver letters. And I mean, even in your industry, I mean, there are people who are storytellers in the marketplace. You replaced all of those people by digitizing these. So I think what happens when disruption happens is the fact that people get freed to have more time to either develop new skills to support that industry. So if you're a banker, for example, and the digital disruption happens in the finance sector, then you have a chance to become a consultant.
Yes.
To SMEs in terms of looking at their business plans, in terms of being able to advise them on how to get loans. So there will still be another opportunity above the existing opportunity. Disruptions, we could also say, we can see the question of artificial intelligence disrupting mechanical tasks right now, the small tasks. But again, somebody has to build the artificial intelligence, maintain it, and support it. So there will always be opportunities when other disruptions, technology disruption happens. People are worried about drivers being replaced when self-driving cars come into play. But again, the people who are drivers now will have opportunities to do other things other than drive cars, which probably would even earn them more money. So I don't think anybody should be worried about that. Disruption actually releases us of manual, monotonous tasks and give us an opportunity to actually engage in more even creative and challenging tasks ourselves that could earn us money.
All right.
I think, let me just add that other than just looking at Kenya on its own,
Yes.
we're also talking about people now having opportunities to work overseas, to work for many of those businesses out there where they actually have declining workforces and they don't have the people to actually do the work. And the process of flying people there, visas, work permits, is not necessary. They can post the work online and people start working. So there are currently millions and millions of jobs already that are available online. So it's creating more opportunities. And especially if someone has skills, subject area skills, then they can go and actually be able to do those jobs and even earn more than they are currently earning. And that's why we want to make sure Kenyans are digital. And I'll let them also continue because they have expertise and experience in this area.
And of course, we know, and this has been happening, especially if you also you understand how it has been working in terms of looking for cheap labor. A lot of American firms or even maybe Kenyan firms, of course, will try and get cheap labor elsewhere. Let's talk about the call centers as well, right? In case you know, you don't really want to cut your cost, operation cost in terms of putting up the staff of the call center. You go for cheap labor. This has been happening with India and America as well. When we're talking about job security and people looking for cheap labor, also through online platform as well, I think that is it is the rough side of it, right? We're looking, of course, for the good opportunities. Let's hear from George.
Let me not call it, let me break that nutshell that it's actually creating a loss of something, but it's an exposure to more opportunities. I'll mark it like this. I wasn't really able to do what I was doing some few months ago.
Yes.
For example, I've been a student at Daystar University.
Yes.
And more of my abilities that I've recognized right now, it came through this opportunity of being able to work for somebody, practically for somebody.
Yes.
Not just waiting for that opportunity to come to be employed, which is actually happening. Most young people like us, like me, are always out there waiting for that opportunity to be employed. But let me call it like this. It's just an exposure to more of your abilities of what you can do. Because of what I've done so far with the 3 months that I've been involved with this program, I can really say that it has been a great opportunity for me to learn more of my skills and to venture into more of my abilities. For example, I'm not only developing softwares.
Yes.
More of the, actually, of course, after all this, you expect revenue. But where do I take the revenue? Of course, now I've been exposed to business mentality, which actually I didn't know that I have. So actually, it's an exposure to more of your ability. I wouldn't call it a threat, really. It's an exposure to more of our abilities. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'd also like to say something. It's a really great opportunity because we see that even with the retrenchments that are going on, you know, before, if you are retrenched, what would you do? Maybe you try to set up a business. And setting up a business is not easy.
Yes.
You need a lot of capital. But then when we're talking about online work, the barriers to entry are really low. You don't need $1 million shillings to set up, to become an online entrepreneur. All you need is a laptop and internet. And the opportunities are so many if you have been retrenched and maybe you have good English skills, then you can become a writer. Who needs writers? We know that websites are coming up every other day. People want their businesses online. And those businesses, those websites, they need content. So all those small businesses, they need writers. So this is a really great opportunity even for those who maybe have lost their jobs. And we know that the only thing that, there's this quote that says the only constant thing is change. Yeah. So change is a must and you have to embrace it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me add something. The advantage of being an online worker is that you have multiple employers. Actually, so you have more job security. So if one client stops paying you in 2 months, you still have 2 more clients to work with. And so I've noticed some of the software developers you're working with have actually had work for the last 6-7 months, constantly working with different customers. So job security is actually more guaranteed on an online basis, more than it is. And the future of even these brick and mortar jobs is not brick and mortar, because brick and mortar costs more to set up all these branches for banks. I mean, when you take that money and maybe pay your workers even more and let your workers work from home, you know, it could help your business as well in terms of morale, in terms of productivity and things like that. So I don't see online jobs being a threat to existing offline jobs at the moment. Yeah.
All right, we have a comment from Mahini Assam. He says, I've been freelancing for 2 years now, but the government involvement scares me. Right? I don't know why he's really getting scared of government involvement on this. And I can see a lot of reactions of them. We shall be actually throwing them on our screen right now. Right? So maybe you can react to that. Why are they getting scared? Is it because the sector is not really streamlined, first of all? When you look at the regulatory framework and policies as well, are they in place?
No, I think maybe for some of them, they've seen it as a secret way to make money. And therefore, you know, once it becomes mainstream, maybe the worries would be that now you have to pay taxes, you have to, you know, there's different things that could be the issues for them.
Yes.
But they should not be worried about this. You know, when you're transacting online, we're aware as government that we want people to have jobs. So we're not planning to come and start clamping down on anybody in terms of the work that they're doing. We want to make people know that online work is real work. And we value that. The taxes required, I think, is about 5%, because it's, you know, you're working for people overseas. If you're working locally, then that's a different taxing. But you get also benefits. So if you're working online and you start paying your taxes, you get an HIF, you get an SSF, you get all these other benefits. And on, say, 100,000, you'd be paying like 5,000 shillings in tax. So I don't think anybody should be scared by the fact that the government is coming in. We are coming in to provide infrastructure, to provide the training, to provide the awareness. We're not competing with Kuhasol. We're actually providing more opportunities for them to have, one, more customers that understand what digital jobs are all about, but also more trained people that can actually do this work. So we are not coming to compete with private sector. We're actually coming to make sure that our citizens are fully aware, trained, they have mentorship. It's not easy for individuals to work on their own. They need bundles, they need laptops, they need many things. And so we want to provide them with the mentorship, the support. And you know, the beauty of being able to work online is that you can work from upcountry. You don't actually have to work in Nairobi. You don't have to be based in these expensive cities, where 1,000 shillings in Nairobi is probably the same as 10,000 in a place like Nyeri, because you know the cost of living is much lower. So people can actually now work from anywhere. And I think the threat is that they're not sure what the government is getting involved and what we're going to do. And I can clarify to everyone, we want to provide the support. We want jobs for everybody. So there's no reason for us to try and limit any opportunities. So, but he did not describe exactly what the challenge is or why he's scared. It could be something else.
All right, of
But
course.
I also want to add something
Yeah, sure.
there. Because as a freelancer, I can understand some of the concerns, like probably tax. But personally, I am not afraid of government involvement. I'm actually quite excited that the government is getting involved, because that means that there's going to be more awareness about online work. And the government has the muscle to do a lot in our industry. When it comes to freelancing, countries like the Philippines and India, you know, they're known to be the countries that are really ahead when it comes to online jobs. So if the government is involved, then in a short matter of time, probably the next 2 or 3 years, Kenya will also be on the map. Maybe we'll be the first country in Africa when you think about outsourcing and when you think about online jobs. So I'm really excited about this opportunity.
All right. Let's say from Sam as well. Of course, you've been on the field, you've been following the bands and tons of the story, the digital story, of course, with the disruption that we have. Also, him and it penetrating, you know, every sector in this country. Could you talk about the challenges? Also, we know what she's saying. What some of the challenges have you experienced in trying to set up a NILAB? You know, from registration, I think that has been streamlined. Everything is going online. Nowadays, you can actually just make your application there. Huduma Center is a good one as well. I mean, we're talking the beauty of, you know, the digital platform as well.
Okay. So from the NILAB perspective, we have a totally different set of challenges.
Yes.
NILAB has launched what is a NILAB seed fund right now. It's $1 million seed fund, and we are funding companies at $25,000. And one of our challenges there is just getting the right type of companies to give money to right now. Out of every 20, 30 companies that come, you can only find one. But when it comes to the digital space on kuhasol.com, basic challenge, hardware. I like what the initiative that the CS is pulling here. It's a very important initiative, but most people have mobile phones, and you cannot transcribe on a mobile phone. You need a computer. Even if it's a basic Google Chrome computer that costs you about $150, you definitely need a computer. And I think that's one of the bigger problems when you find that you have a client waiting for work to be delivered and somebody's computer crashed and there's no replacement computer. So I think I'd probably even ask the CS, the digital program for primary school should actually go to university level, because then subsidized access to Wezesha program, similar program that the ministry carried before, would be really, really helpful. Having hardware is extremely important. That is one of our bigger challenges. When people lose their hardware, they get stolen, they crash, then they can't deliver work, then the customer is unhappy, and one unhappy customer means 10 or 100 unhappy customers, especially from abroad. That is a really big challenge. The second challenge you realize is a skill gap challenge, and I've heard the CS address thing by saying they'll offer training. You find that Kenyans tend to not have the kind of discipline that may be called for global standards. So we need to have a benchmark where we will actually be able to benchmark services and be able to tell people, this is how you talk to customers, this is how you communicate every 2 days and inform the customer the progress of work. This is the kind of quality you should actually be delivering. We have an opportunity to either compete with Philippines or for people to go to Eastern Europe because Eastern Europe has better quality than we do. I said the other basic challenge at that particular level is the question of processing payments.
Payments.
Yes, I mean, a lot of Kenyans, even the young people, don't have bank accounts. So what happens when we have a customer? Kuhasol has customers from across the world. We have customers even from Eastern Europe and even from India because they're not very happy with their own people and their own quality. So how do you process payments from customers from abroad to somebody seated in Kabarchonjo who doesn't even have a bank account? And so I think the ministry will have a lot more work to look at how to maybe even have bitcoins transferred to M-Pesa and all those kind of things to enable that the money actually gets into the pocket of the person who did the work. People don't have PayPal accounts. They have an M-Pesa account, but they don't have a bank account. So that has been one of our challenges. The question of tax, which actually I can assure you it's a big of a worry.
Yes.
Companies like Kuhasol, we've been around for 2 years. We are barely... we're actually making good progress, but we're barely a profitable company, and we still have to pay taxes and pay all these things. And
all right, we have a very interesting also tax breaker puts more money in your pocket. I don't know if the ICT sector also has been roped in on this, and I think this is how it will affect you. And yeah, we can continue as I try and look at if the ICT is here.
No, this is mostly pay-ye in terms of how much you're earning.
Oh yeah, this is the salary workers to enjoy tax relief.
No one should worry that we want to tax people so that they're not able to work. The 5% you'll be paying, for instance, for doing the digital work, it gives you like NHIF. So you now are formally working. Even if you're working from home, you're now formally employed. You don't have to have an employer who's doing this for you. You are able to then get access to hospital and medical assistance. With NSSF, you're able to save for the future. You are now a real worker. So what we're trying to do is to formalize and let people know that this is not hidden work. When we started looking at this program, some of the people who've been working online usually work at night because the companies they're working for are overseas. And so you have someone who is not working during the day and is being seen to have money.
Yes.
So they assume that this person is either doing drugs or other illicit things, yet they are doing real work. So we want to make sure that people understand online work is actually real work, and getting into this formal system works. I can tell you the government is extremely committed to see the growth of this. And so no one should fear that the government will try and stop. I mean, if everyone is working, we get more taxes and everyone pays less, and we all get better infrastructure and services.
All right.
So,
talking of, with the layout also of the fiber optic as well, the infrastructure, we know, of course, by 2015, we had around 7 million subscribers, of course, online right now. But in terms of expanding that network, you also had a project of giving a free Wi-Fi to Kenyans. So what is happening right now in terms of the free Wi-Fi? Where are we slow off the mark in terms of making sure that, yes, Kenyans also enjoying free Wi-Fi?
No, we're not slow off the mark. What I don't want is the Ministry of ICT to be here on the papers where someone is saying there's corruption. The process of procurement in government is very stringent and strict. So we've already gone out, we've gone through processing of tenders and so on, and we are going to be able to work with the CDF to be able to roll out. But since
your pronouncement and now, I mean, we can look at the length of time, truly. It's very sluggish.
No, it's the process. That's the process of procurement. You can't just go and
but
procure.
We're talking about digital platform. Everything now is in FMIS right now. I mean, it's not paperwork. We're waiting for someone else to sign in.
No, the laws are very clear on the process. So, for instance, even after the bids have closed, we have to give 14 days for appeals, for people to come and say if they're happy or not happy. Look at what's even going on with
my outlook
IBC.
is from the perspective of your pronouncement and now. Do you come to the fore to promise Kenyans that you're going to give out or lay out a free Wi-Fi before even you start the process?
No, we've started the process. In fact, the tender has closed. We now have 2 places where it's already set up. In Limuru, we have in Mombasa. So the process has now begun. It's just that it's been slow because it takes time to do things in the manner that the government is required, so that we don't come back to all these issues of procurement. So we're now in place and we're starting to roll out, which means people are going to have access. The budgets were made available. So if you go check even in Parliament, the budget for this program is in place.
All right.
So all the things that were required are there. It's just that it takes time. And it's infrastructure. It's like a road. ICT infrastructure, you can't just put it at once. But we expect that these programs will all run concurrently, so that we can ensure that as we put infrastructure, people are also being trained.
In terms of also putting out the tenders out there, then who are you targeting? Is it still the young people that are, and the millennials that are heavily involved online as well? Or because, did you see these tenders yourselves? You are on the online platforms. Do you see any tender that it is coming from ICT looking for you people to, you know, set up Wi-Fi and give infrastructures and, you know, the attendant hardware for that layout? Did you?
Let me mark it like this.
No, did you?
Of course, like
Shiro?
I'm usually very busy, so I may not have seen it.
Borasio?
I didn't get to see it, but I know about.
You didn't get to see it?
But I know about the plans. I've heard about them.
Okay.
But it was in the papers and online. I mean, it's the public requirement. The
I think we have
procurement laws are very clear.
I think we have a situation whereby also I agree with you to a great extent, where buying Kenya is just a statement that we make, but we actually don't do it. Because I feel strongly that even this, and I've been sent a few messages, why isn't the Ajira digital program bonus not being outsourced to companies like Kuhasol, which is, if you say there are 40,000 workers on Upwork, Kuhasol has 50% of them, you have 20,000 workers. And so why aren't we moving some of these programs to say, let's grow local innovations by, instead of government, because it's a bit tricky for government to do this. I mean, I'm considering you have a really big portfolio. You have telecoms Kenya, you have to do the fiber optic, you have to do this free wireless, then you have to do digital. I mean, why aren't these programs being outsourced to local companies? Why can't we have 4 more Upworks coming from Kenya? And that way we actually grow a really big market.
So there's a misunderstanding here.
Yes.
We are not creating an Upwork, we're not creating a Kuhasol.
Yes.
We're creating a platform to train the workers so that they can go and come to you, go to Upwork and do all those other things. Yeah. With Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we're going and talking to Upwork and all these other people so that we stop bidding. Where we say we got 1 million workers, 100,000 coders, you don't have to go and bid. Just give us the work directly. So we need to show those people that we have those workers here. But that's not a job that Seku Hustle would do, because that's a government role of relating with all these other institutions. Yeah. But the actual work is going to be done with private sector, not by government. We're not creating you know, the linkages in terms of you come and work on our platform. No, our platform is for training. So the youth workers we're training that are now across the country, they're providing mentorship services. They're being paid by government. So anybody that wants to understand the program and wants to work, they will go to those centers which we published on the website. They'll find somebody there who they can talk with and find out more about this. It's not a commercial activity. This is an activity to train. It's like, you know, education. The government provides education. Yes, there are private schools, but we can't say that government should not provide education at all. We have to be able to ensure that Kenyans are digitally trained and they can now come and compete with everybody else. So Kuhasol, you have benefit from here. Because if you have 1 million workers, you can use them and do all those things. We're not going to be the ones doing that. The only other part is with other government institutions, for instance, CA or the judiciary and so on, we are going to start producing work ourselves. Yes. So we want transcription services. So we are going to now come and say, here is work that we need to be done. So that's an area now where we work with private sector, again, to get the workers to come and do the work. But at this stage, it's about awareness, it's about training and so on, providing the Wi-Fi infrastructure so that there are places they can go and work. Yeah, that's a government role.
Well, I also have a point.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole awareness, like the Ajira digital program, it is also a plus, because the more awareness that is out there, the better it is for us, like freelancers. For example, access to loans. The way the CS is saying, people need to understand that online work is real work. It's not just about data entry. There's web design, there's graphic design. You can earn 50,000 all the way to 200,000 and even more. So we need banks to also understand this, because I went to my bank about 3 weeks ago and I wanted a small loan. But I could tell the cashier was really struggling to understand what I do. So we want to get to a time when the cashier can I can show him my PayPal account, I can show him my Upwork account, and that is enough. So this awareness is also really good for us.
I would love to demonstrate a scenario here, yes. And I'm really glad to hear this from the CS himself of what they are doing. I was hoping this was coming, and I'm really glad, because I would love to demonstrate this. What is happening, like she was saying, Kenya is rated among, compared to India, India is a bit high, and this is the demonstration. when you are actually bidding for a job,
Yes.
there's some jobs you are denied simply because you are coming from Kenya. And what the CS is saying, moving to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and finding out the reason, because you can find some jobs Kenyans citizens, Kenyan youth are being denied simply because they are from Kenya. So the government coming in and trying to train the young people, the young people in doing the jobs,
yes,
I think is a plus for us, for the online workers, because now that means an exposure to more jobs, which we actually feel we are actually really actually acquire the skills to do them. But the aspect of being denied a job because you are coming from Kenya,
yes,
that's a gone case now. With the what our CS has said, I really really get it as a positive thing. And I've been to the Ministry of Public Service, and I've seen, actually, back to your question of what maybe they were doing, I've seen meetings that were arranged of what they are doing. I've been sitting with the ICT authority members on what they are doing. So far, I can testify to the fact that something is going on. And from the start of it, I've been looking for a scenario where I'll hear that the government will make the channels easier for us, for one day to be rated top. And that means also, because when you work online, there's that aspect of being rated. And being rated means the way you can be paid right now is not the same way you can be rated. Somebody, for example, she might be rated at a 4-level rate, and me maybe be rated at a 2nd level. There's no way you can be paid at the same time, at the same level. So that means the government coming in, our rating as Kenya, that means we're going to be going up, and that means more money for us after working. So that's a positive thing that I see coming, as the CS was saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just to the traffic elite here is asking something. Why should the government be involved in academic writing, yet it's academic dishonesty, right? If we may just put up that so that we may see. And of course, they've gone to this particular website, they're looking at it, and they've actually zeroed in on the right of bay. Could you please have just the laptop so that they can actually get to see? So we have right of bay, we have freelance Kenya, easy writing. There we have it off there. Right. Could you explain?
That I can answer simply. If you click on any of those links, it's not government. We're providing information as to where are places you can go work. So those are not government platforms. You'll find even Kuhasol is there. So we're telling people work exists, but here is where the work is. It's like a directory. So are they saying that the government should not tell people where this work is and where the directory is? I think that's our responsibility. My ministry is responsible for information and communication. Therefore, I want to provide information as to where job opportunities exist. And so that platform is not owned by the government. It's actually an international platform where you can go and write. And you're paid by those people. It's not the government paying you. So we're providing the information. And I think, again, it's really just a misunderstanding of our role. We're not creating all these jobs. The jobs exist. The government will provide some.
You're only a conduit.
Kuhasol and others will. We are providing an opportunity to ensure that Kenya is going to be rated top in this sector, and that we're going to grow our youth so that they have all those skills and they compete with the best in the world. So we're giving them the right information. When they go on the website, they can see what are all those opportunities. Now, when they click and they see, for instance, about academic writing,
yes,
they then have to come and find out where are the skills. How are they going to actually become a good academic writer? And that's where we come in. And we say, here are the people you can work with. Here is the training that we provide for you. And when you qualify and you're able to do the work, then Kenya benefits. That's one less person who's jobless, because you now have work. So that's our role. Our role is not to now ask you to start writing for government.
All right, we have
I think that's one thing we agree on. I think the role of government here, I think that's completely agree with you. Sensitize people, build the proper infrastructure for this to actually happen, and point these people to the right direction. I think I completely agree with that as far as that goes. I think, as a matter of fact, if that was done like the way Pauline just broke it down, it'll be great. What I think that still there is an opportunity for local companies to do is for local companies to do the training. We have a lot of human resource, training companies that could actually, I hope the ministry is hoping to work with, to go to these centers in all the constituencies and actually offer the training services. The one thing I had that I did not actually understand is that how do we negotiate for jobs on Upwork for Kenyan youths? Upwork does not have the jobs, the customers have the jobs. So we cannot really negotiate with Upwork and Stephen Kaiserel and tell him, hey, please give us the work so that we can give you 1 million youth. Because if you have ever used Upwork, you go there, you post a job, and you select the person to work with. We are not going to get those jobs because we're Kenyans, or because we're going to get those jobs if we're really good enough to compete because the customer does not care where you come from. The customer only cares whether you can actually deliver the work.
Except
So,
right now, they're blocking Kenyan IPs, they're blocking
Yes.
Kenyans
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're saying the quality of work coming from here
Yes.
is bad. So what we want to do is
improve quality.
we go and tell them, look, here are quality workers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And block Kenya so that Kenyans can actually be able to work.
Yes.
That's what Amina
good.
Mohammed in Foreign Affairs
Yes.
are doing. And
Yes.
it's not only Upwork. There's many companies that want to put work even on Upwork, but they can come directly to us if we are already proving that it is doable.
Yes.
And just for the basis of even making this debate extremely interesting,
Yes.
we can still jump Upwork and go directly to the customer with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and say, hey, come directly to platforms we built in Kenya. You don't have to go through Upworks, and post the jobs there, which makes it less competitive for them to compete. Because when you go to Upwork, you're competing with Silicon Valley, you're competing with India, you're competing with Eastern Europe, you're competing with Latin America. So you
And
don't have
that's
visibility.
precisely what we're doing,
Yeah, so
actually.
you don't have visibility. Your point is 2 points out of 5. But when you come to a Kenyan platform where you started off with your customers, chances of having to score 4.5 or 5 out of 5 is extremely high. So there's that opportunity of us saying, let's invest in more platforms like Hustle. We need to have 5 Hustles here, and dealing with different things from software development to transcribing to, to all of those kind of jobs, to translations and all of those kind of works. And I think the ministry can actually provide this support where we don't have to go to Upwork, we don't have to go to Crowdsource, we don't have to go to Crowd Factory, we don't have to go to TopTal. Because, if you look at China managed to close off a little bit of their internet. And now they have Baidu, they have Didi, which is competing with Uber extensively. They have, Alibaba, okay, which has actually grown to a big company. If they had not done what we are suggesting here, eBay would be in China, Google would be in China, WhatsApp would be in China. They have WeChat. When I
Sam,
see us,
are you saying we should close?
no, we are saying we have an opportunity
Coming
here.
from you,
We have an
eh?
opportunity here to actually build local innovations because we have a problem, jobs, number 1. Number 2, we have opportunity to create a platform that is extremely competitive. Platforms, not just one. And so I'm not saying we close off, but we can't close off Uber, we can't close off Google, we can't close off Facebook, but we have a chance to protect local industry so that we can provide these jobs and even grow local innovations.
So our plan on that aspect is all the local jobs that we're going to create. We let the international jobs continue as they are, but we're going to create a lot of local jobs through the awareness that we are currently working on. Government itself is going to create those jobs. We're going to create the most talented skills in the world. And those are going to then allow us to compete with anybody. I feel as Kenya, if you look at even in the offline world, we're in almost every country. You go anywhere, there are Kenyans in hotels, in banks, whatever. So I don't think we need to protect ourselves. I think we are good enough. Our English, our language, our geographic location is good enough
very
that
strategic, yeah.
if we direct our youth in the right way and we train them in the right way, we will compete and win. And your platforms and all the ones that exist. I mean, you look at Cloud Factory came and set up in Kenya. In fact, now they're building and working here because they found this to be a really good place. So I think we have a comparative advantage globally that will allow us to fight anybody in a way where we will win and be able to bring in a lot of the revenues into Kenya. But more importantly, if all our SMEs, if government started working using digital, so we have digital work, then our costs are going to reduce significantly, our profitability is going to increase, we're going to be a lot more efficient.
But you in the place
And
of to actually try and push this envelope so that, we don't have all this dead hand of bureaucracy that you're talking about here when it comes to procurement, right? Why can't you make it also that it is a must also for every government department to be on the digital platform?
So first of all, our Vision 2030 says we're going to be a knowledge society. That we're going to
Just
be
hold on to
digital.
that thought, because we have callers who are hanging on the line
Okay.
already,
Yeah.
and of course they have questions for you as well. Good morning.
Hello,
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you. Have a question or a contribution for us?
Yes.
Mutahi.
My name is Pius Kitonga,
Yes, Kitonga.
and I'm calling you from Meru.
Yes.
I've been doing online work for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing online work for 6 years,
Yes.
and I started working on Upwork when it was Odesk,
Uh-huh.
when it used to be Odesk.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I've been mentoring many. I've been trying to mentor many people
Mm-hmm.
to do the same job.
Yes.
But they've been having a challenge of withdrawing their cash after they do the job.
Yes.
There's been an issue with withdrawing cash. So I just wanted to give a tip.
Yes.
so that everybody can get a tip. Anyone who's working online and they are incurring expenses, withdrawing the money,
Yes.
yeah, so they can just get a PayPal account,
Yes, go on.
and they can get a PayPal account and get an Equity Mastercard. So when they link the PayPal account to the Equity Mastercard,
All right, thank you. Thank you,
the
Chris.
withdrawal is very easy.
Right, thank you. Of course, the CS is going to answer on that as well. We have another caller hanging, Mutai hanging on the line. Good morning, Mutai.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you. You have a question or a contribution for our guest?
I have a question for CS Michelle.
Yes, please.
I think that he's seated with a wonderful panel of great minds there.
Yes.
And my question was, why couldn't he have just, the government came and backed up Hustle? Simple. They already have the platform, they have everything. All they needed was government backing, government partnership. Simple as that. And even you could have gotten better ideas from Mr. CEO there, Sam Kishuru.
All right.
Yeah,
Right, thank you, Mutai.
you're most welcome.
Yes.
All right, let's have our last caller. Good morning.
Morning.
Murioki from Nairobi, good morning.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm watching the show.
Yes, please. Do you have a question or a contribution?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Moshero just one question.
Yes.
Everything we have discussed there that in the morning hinges on internet,
Yes.
connectivity and availability. There was this Apathy fiber optic cable which was made by the government
Yeah.
with the taxpayers' money. Then, curiously, we are not, a few companies, private companies are charging the internet now and selling it to Kenyans at quite a high price. What can you do, Mr. Muchaba, about this? Kindly.
We can barely hear you. Maybe we could boost the
No,
volume here on the floor. Kindly just repeat your question, Miriuki.
I'm asking, yes?
Yes, please.
The government laid the undersea cable.
Yes.
The undersea cable.
Yes.
The internet undersea cable. Some years back.
Yes.
And curiously, we are getting internet from big private companies. Yeah, I'm asking Mr. Muchero, what are his minutes in that to make sure that Kenyans are accessing cheap and fast internet?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Muriuki there.
Thank
And
you.
also we have tweets as well. We have Samuel Kevin Otieno saying Kenya has good coders and designers. The problem is we have a government which doesn't believe in its people. There we have it. Also we have the vague. I like how the CS doesn't see the immorality of training Kenyan youth on academic writing. This is what he's saying. Also we have Michael Onyango saying at Mushero working with Kisumu County to train 10,000 on digital literacy skills. Thanks, CS. Is ongoing. Also, we have Solomon Gitonga saying, please ask the CS the process of enrolling for training the government will provide. I think you're going to give us details of this. Of course, you mentioned when we just began the show. And we have Michael also saying, I'm glad to see Mushero, glad to be working with him. I think he has already tweeted this. This is just another format. I don't think government involvement in paying taxes is conducive in online. This is Charles Rogena. Maybe you want to also begin with our callers, then we can go to the tweets. I don't know if you can also answer.
So I can start with the infrastructure and internet. So yes, we brought in the submarine cables into the country. There's private sector, we actually have 4 cables, but the government has also been working on the national fiber optic cable, NOFB, which is in all the counties, and we're going to sub-counties and eventually to constituencies. So that program is ongoing. We've also created an enabling environment where you have operators who are providing 4G, they're providing 3G, 2G, and in fact with the Universal Service Fund, we now have 89 locations that we're now in the process of installing, where you're going to have, we're going to move from 94% coverage in the country to 98% coverage using the Universal Service Fund. So in terms of fast internet infrastructure, that is actually ongoing, and we're managing to ensure that we continue to expand. I think the needs and requirements of consumers and businesses continue to grow over time, and therefore as that continues, we will continue to expand. The other question was about working or providing this through Kuhasol. I explained that what we're doing is different from what Kuhasol does. We're providing the training and opportunities and awareness.
Yes.
And Kuhasol is not the only company that is involved in digital online jobs in Kenya today. We've partnered with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA.
Yes.
We've been working with many of their members also to ensure that this is going to be a program that avails many of the workers and work for the workers in the country. So that's ongoing. We are partnering with the private sector, with even some NGOs to make sure that this program is successful. We're working with, for instance, the Rockefeller Foundation, who have been working on digital jobs across Africa.
Yes.
So they're also working with us. Again, it's really more about ensuring we have awareness. As regards payments and money, we've actually been talking to the banks so that, you know, sometimes people receive money, and because they don't understand about, you know, the digital work, the bank holds a lot of the money for a while until they've really understood, you know, really you've worked for someone out there and they've sent you dollars, how did you do that? We're working to sensitize the banks so that they understand that that's not money laundering, it is actually real work. And that's why we're saying we want to make sure that online work is known to be real work. Being involved with taxation, I think we need to grow our country. Tax is important, but we're not saying we're going to burden the young people that are coming to work with taxation. It gives them the opportunity, as I say, to get medical access, to get access to pensions through NSSF. So it actually works for them. And that way, even when you go to the bank and you want to apply for a loan and so on, you're recognized as a worker and a contributor to the country for building.
All right. Okay, so let's okay, you want to say, but I want us to move on also to the regulatory and the policies making as well. But
just
don't
a
lose
quick
your thought.
point.
Yes.
It is just a quick point. It's regarding the payments. I'm thinking that the whole awareness thing is really working for us, because before it used to take 8 business days to get your money from PayPal to Equity. That was 8 business days, so it used to take like forever. So if it is a newbie who was working online, earning maybe $20 or $30, it would take them a really long time to access that money.
Yes.
But luckily now it's taking 3 days, and we are hoping that the more banks become aware, it might even take 1 day. And more banks can also be involved with this, because at the moment PayPal only works with Equity, and we are looking forward to maybe Cooperative Bank, Family Bank, and even more banks partnering with PayPal so that we can be able to access our money faster.
All right.
Can I add something? Just to solve that particular problem, we're partnering with a company that is going to be paying instantly by having the money come directly to your M-Pesa. And that's going to pay either bank directly to us and we transfer the money, or through Bitcoins. So that way we make sure, because sometimes some of the projects you're doing require you to get paid 50% before you start. So if you have to wait for a couple of days, you start the work late. And we've noticed that with our software engineers. And the customer is expecting, because they send the money, they're expecting that should already be done. So there are other solutions that we're actually working on to make sure that money comes to you. That does not mean that you escape taxation or anything. We still process all our payments, and we still pay the 5% withholding tax for all the people working with us. So I think the taxation bit, totally agree with you.
But is it punitive? Maybe
it's not punitive, it's 5%, it's not punitive at all, and people should pay their taxes, because also, I mean, how are we going to pay for this fiber? How are we going to pay for this infrastructure? How are we going to pay for this electricity? How
Everything is going online, every industry is going online.
So somehow you shouldn't just make money, you should pay. And I'm glad to hear that you're adding medical cover. It's been one of the biggest problems for online workers, that they don't have medical cover. They're not pensionable, if something happens to them, then basically if somebody hurts their hands, then they can't work anymore. That's the end of that, despite having worked for a number. So I think some of those things are very important for them to be in place, and legitimacy, most important, that we are not just hustlers. The only reason it's called Kuhasol is because when you ask Kenyan, what are you doing with yourself? They always say Kuhasol too, but we are not hustlers. We're actually professionals. If you see our logo, it has a blue that brings in the corporate perspective of that. Yeah.
Online work is work. It is real work.
Yes.
So just be a real citizen in the same way. I think we're formalizing this, and it will work.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, we have Cody Davis saying that I need to know what the Kenyan law says about hackers. This also is tagged to ICT Authority as well. And that's where we want also to, drill deeper a bit before we end up the show in terms of regulatory framework. Everyone is going online. We hear of payments as well. We don't know where we are at right now. Let's begin with the cybersecurity bill so far. At what stage is it at right now? Is it already on the floor of the House?
So it's gone through Cabinet. So I think
Cabinet.
the Parliament is on recess, but they will definitely bring it forward. It's the Computer and Cybercrime Bill. We're making sure that everyone understands what is legal, what is not legal within the bill.
Yes.
We're also putting in a lot of, again, structures so that in terms of when the police come, what are the processes that they're going to use, or the CID. So we have very clear methods that will be used in terms of someone being prosecuted. So they are very clear on all those processes all the way to the judiciary, as well as the punitive conditions we put in. So for instance, you can be jailed for 20 years or fined 20 million for some of these activities. So it's a very clear and comprehensive bill that we've put forward, and we hope it will go through Parliament quickly, and then we can enact it.
All right, so every one of you privy to this particular bill, were they also as stakeholders involved? I don't know who are the drafters of this particular bill.
All the stakeholders were involved.
All stakeholders.
And they will also be involved again
who are the
in Parliament.
Stakeholders?
We open it to the public. Everybody in Kenya is a stakeholder. Because if you're using a mobile phone, someone can still hack your phone or access your data. So it is every Kenyan, and we opened this, so we worked with many of the government agencies and private sector and NGOs to make sure that it's got the right input. But even in Parliament, it still has a public participation. When it's read, they then call the public, and again, people still have opportunities to give input.
So in terms of regulatory framework, when people hack into my account and money is siphoned, and yes, I don't have any genuine, credible evidence to really show this is how it went, the tracking and all. What sort of because I think that is a very gray area. Do I report to the police? Who do I report to? Is there an online police post that you can actually, even here in the country, that you can, like a complaint commission sort of, so to speak? Because these things, they will happen. The ICT authority, who do I run to?
No, you still report to the police.
Still report to
the police.
The police have unit.
They have CID. Yeah, but you see, when you go to the police and say this has happened to you, they will decide who they will go to. So there's a cybercrime unit that they would involve with the CID and many of the other state organs. So there's already a process that is in place. Then what we want to ensure is that, for instance, you don't delete the logs or the things that have gone on in your machines or infrastructure. So the process is there.
Okay.
Yeah. Just go to the police; they will direct you.
All right. As we're winding up, information about the cybersecurity, you can tell us also more about the access information. I think it's an act right now. It's not a
yes, it's an act.
And what is it's all about? The Access Information Act, and we want to know in case of the bitcoins. And I don't know how, and we've had cases also of young people also in banks who've been jailed because of issues of bitcoins, and we don't have any regulatory framework. No.
Nobody has been jailed here.
No, some people have been arraigned in court, isn't it?
On Bitcoin?
Yes, yes. No. I'm very certain. I've read that particular story.
I am very connected to the Bitcoin area, and I can tell you that I'm not aware.
Well, I can
not that I know of.
I can whip up. There was a story on the Business Daily about Bitcoins and some young men who were arraigned in court because of issues of Bitcoin. And I wanted to know just what regulatory frameworks do we have in terms of the Bitcoins, because of course that is where we're transiting to as well.
Right.
Any of you can chime in as we're winding up and just prepare your headline thoughts.
I have to say, I think I want to hear the CSA's opinion on this, because to be honest, he's really experienced on these matters. And when it comes to digital currency and cryptocurrency, I think you've invested in a company before that was in this kind of business. So I'd like to hear what you have to say, especially whether Bitcoins also would have a bigger challenge being accepted in the market like M-Pesa was. There was a bit of resistance initially from even Central Bank about M-Pesa when they just immediately started. Michael Joseph had to go through these really big hoops. So are we going to go through the same when it comes to Bitcoin? And just back to cybersecurity, I didn't even know we have a cybersecurity division at the police department. That would be of interest for most of us to know that.
They've existed for a long time.
Okay, so there's
all right.
I think the Central Bank Act today does not recognize non-fiat currencies. These are the Bitcoins and other virtual currencies, and therefore there's there's a need to rectify that, but it is not illegal. But right now, it is not encouraged by the central bank for people to be trading, especially since they don't understand the digital currencies fully. They are volatile, and so on. So
who doesn't understand?
The public doesn't fully understand. So what central bank is saying is that be cautious in using these cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
I think it's going to, the time will come where we will actually have them working and so on. Yes, there's going to be a process. I think we need to get the legal process kick-started. It's taking time, but yeah, I think it's going to be the future anyway.
All right, so and the Access Information Act, how is it exceedingly beneficial for wananchi? What is it all about? Is it just for the domain? I don't know. It's not just for the domain of for the people who are online. I think it's for the general populace. Access to information.
Access to information is for the whole country. So the Access to Information Act allows the citizens to be able to request information from public institutions.
It's their right, yes.
So right now we're in the process of enacting the regulations, getting them into place,
yes,
so that people can begin to have access to information. But it's not to say that that doesn't exist. Already we have OpenGov where you can get most of the data that you need from the government.
Yes.
The Act itself just formalizes it, but at the moment access to information has been there for the longest.
Thank you, Panasias. Now tell us where, as we're winding up, when you're rolling out this particular project, how long is it going to run, and how also are the counties getting involved with this? Just give us a snippet of all this information. Right. And where? I can see a lot of people asking, like Christopher is asking here, the initiative Ajira Digital Program is handy. He says this will help to expand the platforms or the platform for job creation for the youth. Right, this is what Christopher Obialor is saying. Also, we have Charles Mburugus saying there are many online jobs on Craigslist which don't require bidding, thus pay more. And we have also Freelance Kenya. Freelance Kenya isn't an academic writing site. Ajira should fix that error. ESAP, they say. And we have also Freelance Kenya again. We train on article writing and blogging for those interested. Click there also for those people who are interested. I need to know what the Kenyan know. I think I read this. So you can answer. This is a very salutary effort also you're putting forth. So just give us a snippet of how also Kenyan can get to register. I saw also one on my phone. I think a lady was asking where and how can we register as well.
So first it's ajiradigital.go.ke. That is the website you go to. There is Ajira Digital, yes, on Twitter, and hashtag Ajira Digital for others. So we are going to be providing information. You can register on this website, be able to access many of the services. I'm glad there are already people who are accessing the site. Today is the first time we've actually taken it public. So we expect a lot of comments and feedback from Kenyans. Our role is really to coordinate the information and make sure people know what is ongoing. So we welcome as much feedback as possible, and we'll continue to improve and provide the information as required.
Megan, Lucille, will the website be widely available for people to train on these platforms? How much will it cost the public?
Right now it costs nothing. There's no cost. It's a website. You're getting information. So it's already paid for. So they can go in and actually use the service.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, George, your headline thoughts as we're winding up, Shiro, as well as Sam.
Let me quote it like this. I'm really excited that the government has taken the initiative to be involved in this online jobs program. And I'm really excited because some of these challenges that we have been experiencing as online workers, I believe they're going to be terminated immediately because like we have heard from the panelists that payment problems that we used to experience. I expect that that was one of my expectations, that it's going to be terminated immediately because it was quite frustrating. Yes. And I'm so excited the government has really taken a forefront to come in and support us as a normal working citizens. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, my last thoughts are that online work is real work. This is a viable career, as viable as being an architect, as being an accountant. There are plenty of accountant jobs online. And so I'm hoping that more youths, as they become aware about online jobs, that they're going to embrace it and jump in with both feet, meaning that they can be dedicated and committed And this is an opportunity to earn a dignified income, a decent income, working from home.
All right. So,
Well, I guess they have said most of the important things. So I'm a business person. So the one thing I can say, small, medium enterprises, there's opportunity to actually hire people on these platforms, and Kuhasol is one of them. Number two is that good opportunity for me to say that next year we're launching a digital awards 2017, where we will recognize the best digital workers in this country and the work they're doing and how they're doing it. And we'll hope that that digital awards program will actually inspire a lot of other people to support the initiative that our CSCA is starting off, and just to work with government and other private sector and development aid organization to make sure we're able to legitimize this even more by having the Digital Awards 2017. So don't see online workers hustling, see online workers real work. We've seen people make more than $1,000 a month from this kind of business. Yep.
Right, thank you very much.